Well, hello and welcome back to my kitchen table. We are a week away from Wales Rally GB, and the pieces are beginning to fall into place, aren't they, for 2018 in terms of driver lineups. Now, remember back to last week to the kitchen table. When was it? Last Monday or Tuesday, I think it was. Monday, I think. We more or less confirmed that Tanak was heading off to Toyota. It was a very, very strong rumour that I'd heard in the service park, and we have absolute confirmation of that today. Now, is Ott Tanak, I suppose the question is Ott Tanak a gamble for Toyota? Absolutely not. Is Toyota a gamble for Ott Tanak? I believe it is. I really do believe it is. What's really interesting about this press release that came out very early this morning is it doesn't give us a term. It doesn't tell us how long this deal is. I don't believe that Tanak will have signed a one-year deal to go to Toyota. I think it has to be a multi-year deal, because if all that was on the table was a one-year deal, Tanak should have stayed at M Sport, because I still believe that M Sport car will be the car to beat next year. No question that Tanak will deliver the goods for Toyota. But what are those goods? What are the expectations on Ott Tanak next year? That's a difficult one as well, isn't it? Is he there to support Jari-Matti Latvala, to give Latvala possibly his last chance at taking a world championship, a world title, a driver's title? Or is he there to push Latvala? Is he there, as we've seen at M Sport this year, really to go hammer and tongs with his teammate to see who comes out on top? Listen, Tanak may yet be World Rally Champion this year. Unlikely, he might be. But next year, for sure, he's had a taste of the battle this year. He's had a taste of the fight. He'll be wanting to be in a position next year to kick on from there. Not just to carry on, not just to resume, but to kick on. And he has looked really, really strong. Since when? Since Sardinia, wasn't it, where he took the first win. And Poland was a remarkable drive, most unfortunate. Showed some pace in Finland as well. Germany with that win was tremendous. Tanak looks capable of winning on any surface. Does he look capable of winning on any surface in a Toyota? Not yet. That Toyota has still got too narrow a margin, an operating margin. It is magnificent, as we've seen on the snow and ice. It is great on its home turf in Finland. They need to broaden that. It needs to be great everywhere if they are to give Tanak a chance of fighting for the title next year, if they're to give themselves a chance for fighting for the Manufacturers' Championship next year. I think the dynamic in that team is going to be very, very interesting. I've always said that really an ideal three-car team is two very, very competitive top-line drivers capable of winning on every event, and one rock-solid driver who, yep, if the circumstances go his way, he might pick up the odd win or two, but who you can always rely on to be there or thereabouts to secure those manufacturer points for you. What we have now in Toyota are three drivers who are all still remarkably ambitious, who all want to win rallies, and including Esa-Pekka Lappi, who all might think they've got a shot at the title next year. Lappi, it's a big outsider, isn't it? Because clearly he's shown it in the last few events, the lack of experience of certain rallies is really going to hold him back, I think, for another season. But if he kicks on next year, who knows? How do you manage three drivers fighting against each other? It's a very, very difficult one. Good luck to Tommy Mäkinen with that. What we've seen this year as well is that the strongest driver lineup doesn't guarantee you success at all. Without any question of doubt, Hyundai had the strongest driver lineup this year. And look where it's got them. It got them into a fight. Well, got them kind of into a fight with M Sport, but M Sport have always been controlling that, haven't they? They've always been, really from a very early point in the season, almost favourites, which is astonishing to say, but they have been, with one good driver, one excellent driver, one supremely gifted driver, Sebastian Ogier, and two young drivers willing to learn, willing to support, willing to improve, willing to go that extra mile for the cause. They had a very good team with a very good year indeed. You can't believe the progress that Tanak made under, in particular, Sebastian Ogier. You look at Elvin Evans and the progress he's made as well. For me, really, it's almost a case study in how to do things. One driver, someone said this morning, one driver doesn't make a team. One driver can lead a team. Possibly doesn't make a team, but they can lead a team. And Ogier has led that team quite magnificently, and he's pulled everyone along with him. In the beginning at M Sport this year, things weren't exactly as Ogier wanted, and he had those boys and girls there working night and day to give him the car that he needed. So he brought the team along, he brought the drivers supporting him along. And I find the situation that Ogier now is in a little bit odd, because I don't actually think that, right off Toyota, another odd one. Why wouldn't Toyota have gone in again for Ogier? I don't know. Hyundai, why didn't they go in for Ogier? Why did they take Mikkelsen? As I said last time, Mikkelsen's a great great driver and a great addition to the team, don't get me wrong. But if you've got the chance of taking Ogier, and you see what Ogier's done to that team this year, the way he's magnificently led that team, why wouldn't you have gone for Ogier? I don't get that. I don't think that what we're hearing over the past week or 2 weeks about Hyundai, I don't think there's anything in it. I don't think they are looking to add to their lineup for next year. I think Ogier will either stay at M Sports or he will go to Citroën. Now, I spent a little bit of time with Sebastian Ogier last week, did a very, very good interview, which you'll be able to see. Very good, plumb on trumpet. I think a very enjoyable interview, shall we say, because I enjoyed it immensely. Half-hour sit-down interview with Sebastian Ogier, with David Evans from Autosport magazine. And we talked a lot about the season. The one area we weren't allowed to talk about clearly was the future. But what I can say from seeing Ogier in that car, it was an absolute joy. 2 days. I was only supposed to be there for 1 day. I went back the next day. I enjoyed it so much on the first day of testing in the pouring rain, and he mastered that car. He really did. He looks and sounds comfortable at M Sport. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think his number one choice for next year would be to stay at M Sport. I think he's built a team there around him, which is a bit odd to say that when he came in so late into the project. But he has built a team around him. He's got a team that work tirelessly for him. He's got young drivers who look up to him and who respect him. I think he'd love to stay. Is he going to stay? Listen, a lot of talk this morning linking the departure of Ott Tanak with potentially a no from Ford Performance. I don't think the two actually should be taken together. I don't think one necessarily means the other. Not yet anyway. What we know about Ford Performance is that I think there's probably internal struggles going on there. Listen, they chased the cult of the celebrity, didn't they, when they pulled out of WRC? They went for Ken Block. Now, we love Ken Block. He's a super guy. But, Ford of Europe in particular saw more value in the celebrity than they did in the performance on the stages. Now, again, it's a little odd. I can see the Americans going for all that celebrity nonsense because that's what they go for. Ford in Europe built its reputation, it built its heritage, it built its sales, built its name, really with the grassroots people, the grassroots sport, and that sport was rallying. For me, it was odd. Disappear from rallying, chasing celebrity. Very odd. WRX, whatever it was. Shenanigans with Hoonigans. I found it very odd. Anyway, that is no longer there. They've released that money. I think there's a battle going on. Within Ford Performance. I think there are certain people there who can see the value and can see the remarkable value that M Sport offers. There are others, perhaps because they fear losing face, because they were the ones that, if you like, dragged Ford Performance away from rallying and into other areas. Perhaps they're not so keen on coming back because perhaps they would have to admit they got it wrong. They got it wrong when they pulled out in 2012. They didn't see the future. Now, no one can blame them for that because things were desperate and dire and dark in 2012 when Ford pulled out. Future didn't look great. But fair play to those who stuck at it. Fair play to Malcolm Wilson. Fair play to Citroen. Fair play to, well, who else has stuck at it? No one really, because it was Malcolm Wilson, it was Citroen. They stuck at it. And they're reaping the rewards now. The WRC is in a better place than it has ever been. From Ford Performance's point of view, for the right people within that organisation to look at what we're doing in WRC right now and say, actually, yeah, it is. It is very much on the up. It's very much where people want to be. It's very much regained its credibility. For them to say that, they would have to admit they were wrong. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's, they're all big lads. They're all big lads with big egos, with big characters. And they're big enough to accept that perhaps they did get it wrong in 2012. There's no shame in that. There's no embarrassment in that whatsoever. Turn round and say, we were wrong. Let's get back into the WRC. I'd love it if they did that. We all would. If that happens, and I don't think that, as I say, we can write it off. Yeah, I don't think they've said no. Malcolm Wilson told me, 2 weeks ago, there were daily conversations with Ford Performance. So that didn't just suggest, that said to me that they'd still not said no. Let's keep our fingers crossed that happens, because what we know is if the Ford Performance don't come in, if they don't get involved, then Malcolm's in a difficult position. You can't keep Seb, no question about that. Seb will go to Citroen. We will still, I think, see an M Sport team next year. It'll be Elfyn Evans, probably Teemu Sunninen. Who's to say Kalle Rovanperä might not get a few rounds. The third driver, in terms of point scoring, I imagine, will be a privateer, so perhaps Mads Osberg scoring points again. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but it would be galling for them. It would be a kick in the teeth, having achieved so much this year, not to be able to move on from that, and to move on and up from that. Anyway, it's going to give us lots to talk about, isn't it? Sébastien Ogier, where does he go? He's still deciding. What I got from the interview with Ogier, what I got from his demeanour, was that he's in no rush. I don't think a decision had been made yet. Didn't get that impression that he'd made a decision. What I did get from it was that he was comfortable. He was happy, very, very happy with where he's at right now at M Sport. So there we are. Tanak to Toyota, bit of a gamble. Bit of a gamble, understandable, totally understandable. Ogier, still undecided. A lot of you are asking me to perhaps tell you a little bit about the other drivers and what I know. What I know in particular about Craig Breen is that he feels very comfortable. He feels pretty positive about next year. I don't think we'll see Craig Breen sharing a seat next year. Now, he hasn't told me that. I've just kind of, if you like, worked that out from various conversations that I've had around the service park, some with Craig, some with other people. Breen, I think, is comfortable and confident of a full-time drive in the WRC next year. Breen, Meek, Loeb, Ogier, strong team, strong team, without any doubt. How you fit Loeb into that, not quite sure. Do you need Loeb if you've got Sébastien Ogier? Probably not. Is it a fourth car? Possibly. We'll have to see. We talked about Teemu Sunninen. Pontus Tiedeman's another interesting one. Maybe Pontus Tiedemann might find a home at M Sport, but it won't be a benefactor's home. Malcolm won't be paying for Tiedemann to drive a World Rally car. A few rumours about perhaps Tiedemann finding a very good sponsor that might allow him to do a number of rounds next year in the WRC, and that would almost inevitably be in a M Sport car. We'll have to wait and see. Plenty of youngsters there vying for places. Camille's another one. What happens with Eric Camille? Has he done enough this year? Has he done an Elfyn Evans? Remember, Evans took a year out in the R5 and then came back brilliantly in the WRC. Might we see that with Camille? Outside chance. What else? Hyundai. As I said earlier, I don't think there's really much chance at all of Ogier going to Hyundai. But Hyundai have still got a problem for next year. 4 drivers into 3 cars don't go. Someone is going to miss out. What do you do? What do you do if you've got 4 drivers? What do you do if you've got 5 drivers? Because that's what they'll have if Ogier comes along. Maybe start a rallycross team. That's an interesting rumour I heard. I'm not going to really expand on that much. because I'm not sure of the merit of the rumour. But yeah, it's one way. If you've got 5 contracted drivers, they're certainly going to have 4. Why not start a rallycross team? Anyway, one for you guys to think about and to have a look at, and to maybe do a little bit of digging and see what you can find. Hyundai, I think, have a problem, but it will be resolved. They've got a problem with the car right now. That'll be resolved too. So there we are. Guys, you might have noticed, by the way, take a look. Brand new Wales Rally GB hoodies. Have a look, aren't they lovely? I don't know how these two found their way onto my kitchen workbench there, but they did. These are my kids. Look, beautiful. They've got a lovely retro feel to them, and I like them. Performance-clothing.com. That is where you get them. Just actually Google Performance Clothing WRC, and you can find these lovely new Performance Clothing Days Insure Wales Rally GB hoodies. Look at this. Isn't that lovely? What does that remind you of? It reminds you of a classic livery, doesn't it? Well, not giving the name to it, but it does remind me very much of a classic livery. So have a look, guys. They're very comfortable. They're very warm. I like them a lot. You'll see me wearing mine quite a bit over the next week or so. Rightio, guys. Listen, I promise as soon as we have anything that we can say about Ogier, I will be back to you. But in the meantime, keep in touch with me through Facebook, Colin Clark Rally. If you prefer, Twitter at Voice of Rally. I'm also on Instagram as Colin_Clark_Rally. Any of those 3 methods, keep in touch. It's been great talking to you again, as always, from my Days Insure Wales Rally GB hoodie sponsored, that's performance-clothing.com sponsored kitchen table. Speak to you soon.